All right. I think that's it. The cat's being needy. What you need, Crash? I don't know what he's gonna do. Yeah, birds. That's where we left off. So, just sitting here enjoying the Bomberman music, remembering a simpler time. Come here, Crash. Stick around a while. Alright, so many things to go over. I'm excited for this one. Excited for all my streams, but I've been waiting for this one. I wanted to do it a lot earlier. Also, that music's kind of loud in my ears, but it seems fine on the thingy me bob over here. Y'all can let me know. So I got my Madman board over here. This is because I was on the road, had an idea, had to come home, write it all down. Then there were some other things we were working on. I think it was last Thursday. I think we were just here a week ago. Is when we were looking at birds for the... It's good? All right. We knew we had a bird. We kept calling it an owl, but it hadn't been permanently decided. Some kind of bird creature in the Twice Dead Swamp. And the Twice Dead Swamp was a place... We just wanted a place to name after Twice Dead Mage, because he's been contributing so much. We also have to make some creature called a Griffin Spade, because he's been watching... He goes through... No, I don't know if he goes through 100%, but at one point he was going through watching these streams and like keeping up. They weren't live when he was available, and he seemed very interested. So I was like, all right, he was commenting on old streams. It's like, let's make a Griffin Spade monster. Don't know what that one's going to be yet, but that's in the backlog. So anyway, we made the Twice Dead Swamp, and the Twice Dead Swamp was a place where you die twice. So we decided this bird creature kills you, carries you there, dunks you in the water, and you get turned into a hollow tongue. So you die twice. I think we went... Well, actually... Yeah, I think last week we decided this was the bird to use. Glee, you can drop the name in the chat because I forgot what it was, like some kind of blood red vulture or something, but he's red because of all the blood of everything he eats, if I remember right. It, like, dyes his feathers. Alternatively, a place called Griffin Glade. Ooh. I would say it doesn't have to be a monster. I just saw Griffin Spade and I was like, hey, sounds like a monster. Could be a tool. Ooh, the Griffin Spade. But anyway, I decided I really like this bird, and then as I got into these ideas, it made way more sense, like it came together, but I gotta get there. We're gonna be all over the place a bit today. Bearded vulture, the lemmergeier. Birds aren't that scary. Took one down super easy. Yeah. I had to dumb that fight down a lot for y'all, which is the segue into the next thing, which was we did have a playtest last... Was it just Saturday, right? Look, it's been almost a week. Yep. I have no idea what day it is. So it was just this past Saturday. And this was a much more narrative-driven based one-shot. You got knocked out, Glee. Whereas the first one shot we did was just, here's a dungeon, go in. We had the silly bookworms and stuff. It was just a fun, silly dungeon run, but to test mechanics. Whereas this next one, I was like, okay, this is the Moss and Stone world. This is what you're going to have to deal with. And when I was on the road that day before the stream, had an idea and implemented it at the very, very end. Because the mustache, you're here, you'll appreciate this. There originally was no hollow tongues in that one shot. And I told the people in the group, it was me, Mustache Glee, Peter from Tales from Elsewhere, and Meredith, who is the editor for Easy D6 books, or at least from Wasted Worlds and on. Lamborghini, we'll call him Lamborghini. So I told him, I'm like, hey, this is more like a session first and then a playtest second. So like, don't worry about having to test battle mechanics, stuff, make the character you want, have fun, there's going to be a story to explore. And everybody made like hollow tongue killing entities, except for Glee. She used Bandage, which was the same character she had in the last one shot, which was a medic. Very cool little character. But yeah, Mustache was just straight up a hollow tongue hunter. Peter made a very defensive build to deal with those kind of things. I think he may even took a perk for hollow tongue hunting. And Meredith made a preacher so she could use the karma against hollow tongue. So I was like, okay, well, everybody is just specced out for hollow tongues. I gotta put one in somewhere. So anyway, this was, like I said, much more story-based one shot. And I made the story way too complicated that I ended up taking it and started working on a novella for it that I might try and ship with the game. I don't know about that. I'm just kind of seeing where it goes. It's been very fun so far. But it was a good session. I don't think anything broke. It went pretty smooth. I'm still trying to find that balance as far as karma getting lost and given, or when you can and can't use karma. It works great on hollow tongues when you're just completely stripped of that. It's like, but when you lose a predator roll, I'm trying to come up with a very simple way where you accrue more karma since you're on the defensive, and then when you win the predator roll, you can just barrel through your bad guys. Got a couple small ideas, but that's for later. So at the end of this one shot, I decided to throw him a hollow tongue, and it was just starting to turn. I picked the hollow tongue hunter just for the jumping, honestly. It is a pretty cool ability, but since Peter had mentioned grabbing that feat, I thought it would be a good connecting point. Yep. Now, everybody's characters were cool. I really liked them. And Meredith picking the rabbit let me do a few fun things narratively, since she could hear. Let's see. Yeah, so I gave him a hollow tongue right at the end. It was a bird that was turning into one, and when they stabbed it right in the heart, and now that you're here twice dead, you know where this is going. They stabbed the hollow tongue right in the heart and went ka-chunk, and it's like, oh, they struck something solid. And then they cut him open after he was dead, and there was, his heart was a whisper stone, but instead of that glowing blue runes on it, it was glowing red and had a little blood coming out of the stone. I don't know if that's going to stay or not, but that was the idea. So what I'm thinking is, what I'm thinking, this bird, he dunks, and I think we talked about this on last stream. This bird takes folks, dunks them in the swamp, and turns them into hollow tongues because he eats hollow tongue hearts. Those whisper stones, which are red, which makes him red and all that good stuff. So he's quite crazy. Well, maybe not crazy, but he's quite vicious, very powerful, very strong. So I think what this is going to lead, this is where the idea was started going while I was driving around. We're going to have corrupted whisper stones in the game as something you can use, and this is what we're going to have to figure out today. That's part of what's on the board, and I think that's what I got over here. I just a few things down. I thought about a different name. I was like, no, they're just going to be corrupted whisper stones. Don't need to come up with a different name. As neat as hollow stones would be, I'm just trying to keep it simple. Monster cores, yeah. Corrupted whisper stone might have another name: bleeding stones, screaming stones, moaning stones. I'm thinking just corrupted because they're still a whisper stone. They have just become corrupted. 50-50. I'm not completely sold. So lore-wise, whisper stones were neither good or bad. That is the approach we've been taking. They're just this power that exists, and in the beginning, somebody tried to use too much of it and got corrupted. That's what turned them into a hollow stone. They kind of abused, or a hollow tongue. They kind of abused the power that existed, and the idea was kind of like, yep, the stone remembers. I think we talked about that last stream. So that's what corrupts them and turns them into a whisper stone. And I think Price did, you were having the idea last stream of like, ooh, maybe that's where Whisper Stones come from, and we kind of had the chicken or the egg situation, you know, like which comes first, you know. But then I was like, how about we just have this totally different thing? It's a corrupted Whisper Stone. Stage Whisper Stones. The moaning of the dead. Hey man, I didn't say nothing. So that's the idea. Now, mechanically, what I'm wondering, since Whisper Stones are scrolls that essentially anybody can use, you know, they're one use, boop, they're gone. Corruption is when you try and use too much or do too much. If you're familiar with EZD6, in core EZD6, if you pick the Conjurer, which is the Sorcerer Wizard class, He-Man trailer, another one. I mean, the last He-Man trailer I saw was the cartoon they came out with recently that did very not well. Recently, it was like 5 years ago, I think, at this point. Is it a live-action movie? So anyway, in Core EZD6, when you pick the wizard type of class, you pick that class, and then you pick a school of magic. And like one's like you make vines come up and do stuff. Another one's like you're throwing elemental power. Another one's you're doing stuff with shadows. They're very loosey-goosey, and there's essentially just one mechanic that works across all of them, and it's say what you want to do and then roll your dice. Like, that's it. There's not a list of spells or anything, so you kind of have like unlimited magic potential to an extent going on. I forget exactly how the mechanics work, but like if any ones you roll, I think backfire on you or something like that, or just cause it to cancel. But the more you want it to do, the more dice you have to roll, so higher chance of failure. It's pretty sweet, pretty slick how it works. So I'm thinking, if you have a corrupted Whisper Stone, instead of it being a one and done deal with defined terms like the regular Whisper Stones, it's just unlimited power. Like, you say, oh, I want to do whatever, and then you're gonna have to roll these dice, but all the ones you roll hurt you, and if you die, if you hit 0 HP because of using a corrupted Whisper Stone, you're hollow tongue. Like, there's no saving your character. Now, because we talked last week about the stages of hollow tongue, when they could and couldn't be cured, and that'll be the point of no return. So your party will have to kill you. A live action He-Man. That sounds terrible, but I will go check out the trailer. Corrupted Whisper Stones could be rechargeable. Well, I'm thinking they don't need it. So that's the thing. You have pushed it beyond this limit it's supposed to have, and now it's just unlimited. But which makes that vulture even more scary. So anyway, this also will go into the corrupted priest class we have, or the specialization. He's going to have to get some tweaks where he can use the corrupted Whisper Stones. He has less chance of hurting himself, so he will be very strong. But if you remember, when he hits 0 HP by any means, he becomes that halfway between hollow tongue stage, where he loses all his, like, he can't use gear and equipment. He just uses his claws grow out and everything, and he gets all his special stuff. So that will slide into that, hopefully. Let's see. So what do I have on the board here? Whisper Stones, near the good or bad we talked about. Abuses power as well as corrupts it. Once fully hollowed, the individual's heart becomes a corrupted Whisper Stone. If not a corrupt... Okay, corrupted Whisper Stone use. So I was thinking, if you're not the corrupted priest, you roll a 1d6 on a 6+, the stone does not have negative consequences. So, like, I gotta make it very potent in both sides. Like, I have to make it very dangerous to use, but very tempting to use. So it's like, oh yeah, here's the stone. You can make it do whatever you want pretty much, but you have to roll a 6 in order not to suffer consequences. Whereas if you're a corrupted priest, you kind of flip it. The stone only has a negative consequence on 1. Now, that needs a little more balance, obviously. Whisper stones or abuse of power. What if they were more? Yeah, and that's what we talked about. So, force a stone to be used. This is everything I just said. What are the negative consequences? Same across all whisper stones. A unique consequence for each, or a reversal of the stone's effect. Yeah. And then on the board, I don't think I'm going to need anything from the board today. Alright, so let me pull up base easy d6 here. Create a character. Conjurer. Okay, let's see. Circles of Sorcery. I think it's before that. Let's see. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Let's see. Miracles. Preparing a spell. The conjurer explains what spell they are casting to the GM. The GM then decides if the spell is targeted against a creature, an effect, or a beneficial spell with friendly targets. This exchange will help the GM decide how many resistance dice. Okay. Let's see. Spells targeted against the environment. Generate a roll, but can change. Powering up a spell. When a conjurer casts a spell, they must decide the power level, 1d6 to 3d6, that they want to use. This means the conjurer has to choose whether to roll 1, 2, or 3 dice. The caster must equal or beat the resistance number of the highest resistance die rolled of the target on one of the power level die rolled. The resistance dice will always, be rolled and revealed first before the conjurer decides on the power level. If the highest resistance number ends up as a 1, what he's going against, then he automatically casts. Okay. The highest die rolled on a power level must equal or beat. Yep. Power level 6 will beat a 6 rolled by blah, 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 blah. Basic stuff. Potential problem is if any power level dice rolled are 1s. If so, the spell automatically fails unless the conjurer takes spell burn. Rolling more power level dice has a greater chance of equaling 1. We talked about that. So spell burn, manipulating. That's flavor text. A roll of 1 when casting a spell means the energies do not manifest, but a conjurer may want to sacrifice life force to continue to cast a spell. A spell can be cast by the conjurer taking 1 strike. Otherwise it fails, and you can't use karma. So... And then there's the anchor. Some spells are not cast instantly. I don't think this is going to come into play. Anchoring allows conjurers to embed and maintain an active prolonged spell in their mind. Conjurer can do any other actions while anchoring a spell, but if the conjurer takes a strike, yeah, it breaks it. Okay. So... let me catch up with chat. I imagined you watched it as a kid. It's very popular amongst 50-year-olds. Oh, thanks, man. Not that old yet. Actually never watched He-Man cartoon. I didn't watch a lot of cartoons. Because for part of my childhood, we didn't have a TV. And then when we did have a TV, we did not have any cable or anything. So there wasn't much TV watching. I just had my little Nintendo box. Curse is slowly consumed body, mind, and soul. Small buffer. You could have 11 results. You roll 1d6 plus 2 to start. 3 to 8. But if you do it again, you roll 2d6. Nah. Too complicated for easy d6. Because, see, I'm already going to redo the Witch Doctor. Because the Witch Doctor has... it's just a d6 table. But I don't like having to stop and look it up. Like, I just want a basic... We didn't have TV back in my day. There were TVs, we just didn't have one. His mama was like, that TV's bad for you. So, what was I saying? So, you got a corrupted Whisperstone. Player's like, I want to open the ground up and swallow this bad guy. It's like, okay, it's pretty strong. Is there a flat rate for these corrupted Whisperstones? Or is the GM going to have to be like, yeah, that's whatever dice. Now, I actually got to do miracles for the first time. And Meredith had to explain it to me because I'd never done it. So, let's see. Here, let me read the miracle thing. You can ask a favor. Roll up to 3d6, like a conjurer, but instead of power level, the roll represents the urgency of your prayer. The hero must equal or beat what the GM rolls. The GM will determine the number of dice rolled for the request. Example, resurrecting a fallen friend would be a 66 difficulty, while Speak to Dead might be 3d6. Okay. Miracles can only be asked for once per situation. Per situation, not session. And since the gods can be arrogant, no karma may be used. Cannot harm or cause damage. So maybe the corrupted Whisperstone is... it functions more like miracles. Rolling a 1 will automatically end your chance of a miracle. Though you can make an offering. So maybe the corrupted Whisperstone always works, but depending on how many ones you roll, it's how much health you lose. DDs, blah, 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 blah. When you ask for a miracle, clearly explain what you tend so the GM can decide on the number of dice. Okay. One miracle a scene. Okay. For some reason, I had it in my mind. It was like one miracle a session. That's pretty nice. Okay. So, if I just say, what's something crazy you would want to do with a Whisperstone with unlimited power? Delete Hollow Tongue? I guess, you ask for something crazy, and then the GM could just be like, yeah, man, that's 30d6, and you roll all of them, and of course become a Hollow Tongue, but, you make it happen. He's like, I want to destroy all Hollow Tongues. Boom, 100d6. Yes, you get turned into a Hollow Tongue, but you deleted all Hollow Tongues, so what happens? Maybe it has to be within reason? That's the thing. So do we want to make... hang on. Let me go back to Conjurer here. They want to cure a Hollow Tongue with my Whisperstone? I mean... use a corrupted one to take away the corruption from another one? Maybe it works, but, it gets you in the process. That could be super cool. Or I wonder if it would just be like, if you wanted to put limits on it, you could just say, yeah, you can look at the Whisperstone table and pick the ability you want and just use it at will. Maybe. Might be the way to go. So here's a school of sorcery. Arcane band. Strands of magical energy whip out with the caster like long tentacles and can be used to move objects or grapple enemies. Moving or grappling a man is easy. Something as large as an elephant or multiple targets is harder. Anything near can be reached. Maintain the anchor to sustain the bands. Those ensnared can try to break free on a 6. So like that kind of gives you some limits. It's like, okay, you can't, might be a little difficult to grapple an elephant, but you could try. Maybe a lesser, greater, and mighty effects as a scale to decide the limits and rate of use. Maybe you get 1 mighty casting per life or per campaign. A circle slap. I did in another game. I mean, it'd be looking stuff up, but it would be kind of neat. Just like, oh yeah, whatever Whisper Stones exist, you can just do now. At the potential risk. But it's like, how do you determine which? Then you have to set like a flat rate. Like, yep, it's gonna be 5d6 or whatever. Botanicalist. You control plants and can cause plant life to spring into being and quickly grow. Growth takes a turn, and larger plants will take more time. Examples of this power include a wall of thorns or a vine growing up like a rope. Requires spell anchoring. Loss of the anchor causes a plant to wither and rot. Plants will never intentionally injure or restrain you. So, like I said, that kind of sets limits. I don't know. Check my board. That's... I did have a thought. Like, would it be common knowledge that hollow tongues have corrupted whisper stones in them? And would that make hollow tongue hunters more of like a holy kind of warrior? Like they're hunting them because they're corrupt? Are they the witch hunters of that world? Be pretty cool. They get the hats. Did that. Yeah. Can cast almost any spell. But yeah, okay, so that's where I'm at, really. My notes are hard to read. They're all over the place. I bothered the cat. Alright, so... let me grab... my manual here. Let's see. What do we have for my corrupted priest? Can I just grab all this? Whoop. All right. There's our corrupted priest. Doubt that is common knowledge, mostly because it implies a lot of interaction. Yeah, by a bunch of people wearing shirts. That's kind of what I was thinking. And that's how it played out when I just did the, surprise lore drop at the end of the session. Like, they didn't know what it was. They were surprised to see it glowing red and this heart of a whisper stone in the creature. So, we have... right now, the corrupted priest is kind of like your swindler, and then he just had this I become hollow ability, which was what really differentiated him from everything else. So I think if we're going to do this corrupted whisperstone route, this stuff can probably go away and just become inclinations or something. So if you want to make your swindler, you can. And then he's going to get corrupted whisperstone abilities, which will make him very strong, but, he ain't getting back up when he hits 0. So that'll be neat. You got no notification. Oh, you know what? I forgot to post it. Dang it. I knew I was forgetting. I thought about it, and I started the stream so I could copy the URL on. And then I didn't post it. And we're half an hour in. Let me post it. I got all set up to and then didn't. I think the cat distracted me. We're live from Austin Stonework. I really need to get a bot in here. I had one, but I didn't like it because it wasn't working right. Disaster! You've corrupted my whisper stones. Okay. Problem solved. Not really. But we did the best we could. Alright. See, I know if I give... Hey, there's Glenn. Mr. Clever, Cool, Crazy himself. Right off the top of my head, Glenn. I do need to do a review for Adventuring Family. Semi-soon. Like, within the next couple months. But I liked what you had suggested about kind of an interview style for that one. Since a lot of it's over my head. As far as what it's trying to do. So we need me and you and the man himself and maybe some other brain peoples need to get together. We don't have to all get together at the same time, but I will be poking y'all's brains about that. So anyway, Corrupted Whisperstone. See, I know if I give it to a player and it's just like, hey, this is like base EZD6 magic, except you don't have to pick a school of magic. It's just very loose. Well, what do you want it to do? They're immediately going to try and do something crazy. If we can find a time and date, yeah. And I might just be, I'll give you some questions and you can record yourself and send it, and that'll be fine. I definitely want to do that one a bit different since it's such a different game. So I gotta put, excuse me, some limits on the players. Somehow. But it's also gotta be super tempting. Scrat about to form a think tank. Urgh, big brains. A wine and dice event for our office with Clear. Oh man, look at you. Drinking on the job. I guess you got to be in your line of work. Excuse you. I don't know if y'all heard that. Whisper Stones could have a lean so that the Whisper Stone is a school. Okay, yeah, I thought about that. Having little schools like that. I did think about it. I guess you could come up with 6, and then when you acquire a corrupted Whisperstone, you roll to see which one it is. Or maybe you get to pick, and now that's part of the corruption since you're controlling it. Maybe. The pre-recorded might work out better with the scheduled present after hours. After, okay, all right, sure. So okay, let's we're just spitballing here. So let's just say if corrupted Whisperstones had schools of magic, what would they be? Excuse me. That was an inappropriate thing to do on stream. Right in the microphone. So this is out in nature, so excuse me. Probably something like the botanicalist from base EZD6. So something like core EZD6 botanicalist. How do you spell that? Botanicalist. Botan? I might have spelled it right. Not, that's an I. Random may be more fun, and or you get to choose, but you have to choose. Ooh, interesting. Lesser, it affects a limited number of people, or small area. Greater, it affects immediate surroundings. That could be botanicalist. It's probably a play on that, but I'll show you. From the core book. Stay there. B-O-T-A-N. Isolist. Oh, there was an A. Why did I right the first time? I'm getting cross-eyed looking at that. No, it's not botanic. You know what? I don't care how it's spelled. That's it. I'm getting cross-eyed looking at the two. So twice did. I'm thinking. So I kind of like the idea of the lesser greater thing, but it's like when you decide, okay, here's what I'm trying to do. The GM says, or maybe you can kind of have some control. Like, I'm trying to do a lesser thing. I'm trying to do a greater thing with this stone and whatever it does. So, and that will let you know kind of how many dice you're getting into. Schools of Magic, the green, plant-based. The gray, ooh, the gray, stone and soil. The red, animal. The blue, bruh. I think you're on to something there. Could the stones be different color? Okay, see, we won't do this, but this would have been super cool. If Whisper Stones weren't... This could be like the core feature of another game. But if you had these magic stones, and the colors were like you were saying, and the red, you know, it's like, oh, it's a green Whisper Stone, it's going to do nature-y stuff. It's a blue one, it's going to do watery stuff. You find a red one, that's the bad one, because it's blood stuff. Like, that would be super cool. Great, I want to add you as an early playtester in the Knowledge for Clever Cool Crazy, so if you can DM me how your in-real-life name should appear, I can get it. Scrat is my IRL name. What are you talking about? I can actually say I have signed a contract that I was referred to as Scrat. So, I don't know how official a contract it was, but this game's got some stones. Okay. So, okay, colors aside, Twice did. Like, I would love, like I said, I would love that as a feature for a whole other game, like to build off of that. So maybe, you know, I'll put that with my other projects. But I like your grouping. So there's our green. Something with stones. It's not like his name is on his book. Oh, Glee getting sassy. Maybe he was just, you know, maybe I want to use Ben instead of Benjamin. Or maybe I want to use Scrat. You know, you never know. He's being polite and professional. Alright, so you got stones. Stone and soil. Stones. Ah! Man, I'm struggling. And soil? The red. Blood stuff. Some necromancy. Water stuff. Fire stuff. Air? Are we making an avatar over here? You came in late. What's the goal for what we're working on? You forgot about that. We have corrupted Whisper Stones now, Crab. And I'm trying... I feel like we got the lore pretty much sorted out for them. And now we're trying to make them a mechanic. And the idea is to make something that's very, very tempting for the players, but very, very, very dangerous to use. Authors do stupid things with their names on books all the time. You never know. It's true. White for clouds and weather? Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna, like... This is gonna be a separate thing. Plant stuff. Gray. Stone and soil. Red. Blood stuff. What was the other one? I gotta scroll up. Blood stuff. Animal life. Blue. Water and sky. Right. That's not a color. Should do color and shape for the schools. Ah! Alright. We're, that's not how you spell that. Getting into another game there. We're devised against blood stuff specifically. It is a phobia and a hard line for a lot of folks. It takes your game from one tone to another. Do a little blood bending. It does get a little spoopy. So how many, let's say, Core Easy D6 has Arcane Bands, Blaster Master, Botanicalist, Elementalist, Illusionist, Necromancer, Seer, Shadow Weaver, Shapeshifter. So 9 schools of magic. Shapeshifter's pretty cool. I need to play more Easy D6. So I feel like this one's pretty easy and solid. The first one, just being able to control plant mass around you. Controlling stones may be neat. That would be like a... I feel like a hard one. I wouldn't describe moss and stone as the cute critters on a frolicking adventure. It gets dark. It does. So are snakes and spiders. Oh, so are snakes, spiders. We have those already. If you're phobias, so powerful the mere mention of it in a game turns you away. You might need therapy. It's true. Have you played much? So, Glenn, I've actually, like, 2 times, I think, at this point, I was supposed to be in a Shadow Dark game. One was Shadow Dark, and one was... Is it called Dark Space? It's Shadow Dark in Space. It's a thing somebody made for it. I really want to try it out, Shadow Dark, but I need somebody to run it. Actually, now that you bring that up, my schedule's kind of grim at the time as far as having games on the books go. I need to get some on there. I still got plenty to review, but like I need to play some more games because my Plaguebound campaign has like 1 more session and then that's done. And yeah, I ain't got a lot going on. As far as games go, like I said, there's plenty of other things going on. Wes can run it, so can I. Well, one of you. Matter of fact, I think Wes was supposed to run one of those, and it ended up not happening. I know the Shadow Dark in Space was on his server, but I think the guy that made the thing was running it. So, need to get in Kelsey's good graces, I guess. Something with stones. So would it be like just levitating stones, animating stones, creating stone, I guess? As long as it's stone based, whatever you want to do, right? You need to play some Ironbound and Plaguebound? Hey, man. It's pretty fun. In fact, I got it right over there. I've played a lot of Plaguebound, which is pretty much just Ironbound. But I've only played Ironbound a couple times. Okay, so... Controlling plants, controlling stones. Let's pass over the blood stuff and get back to that because I already got a few ideas. Water stuff. What would be... If you had this... this whisper stone of power, and you could tell it to do almost whatever you want as long as it was water-based, what would you do? Last stream was about zombified animals being corrupted and made again against the rule by powers. This is just blood. And I owe Dave a playtest of Mass Pause. You do, I heard about that. I would say, okay, you win, but I'm not defending anything. Don't care what was it. I get what you were saying, Crabsoft. I get what you were saying. It was not lost on me, don't worry. Yeah, so water stuff. If you could just control water, what would you do? Would you be able to summon water? Flood a room? Make water just come out of the ground? Make a water shield? Guess if you're in a volcano, it'd be kind of nice. Just water all over the lava. Could be kind of cool. I don't know about fire stuff in here. Anyone have any favorite Adam Sandler lines? It's for a game. Not really. I think blood stuff, just considering what the stone is, would be some kind of necromancy. Like you could just raise up corpses, which there is a built-in one. Like you could just say it's the necromancer class from Core Easy D6, which says your powers focus on undeath. Many people fear and despise necromancers, so they often conceal their abilities. As a necromancer, you can raise mindless undead to serve you or speak with the dead in a limited capacity. Necromancers can try to keep intelligent undead at bay, but cannot control them. Necromancers often carry a skull that cannot move of its own accord, but can speak. Can tirelessly watch an area or convey messages. So that's the thing. Like if I was running a game of Easy D6 and somebody's like, "I'm a necromancer," I'd be like, "I don't know what that means. What can you do? Do your hordes of undead get one strike and you have 20 of them? Like, what is that? I guess it's up to me to say." Volcano spewing lava would be amazing. Fog frost commanding a stream of making water. Ex nihilo. Did I say that right? Could be stuff you can make it with the blue stone. The blue stone. So can we just like would it be lazy or smart to just take the circles of sorcery that exist and apply those to corrupted whisper stones? Because then it's like, because this is for Easy D6, right? So people who play Easy D6 and like it, you know, play another game because they like it. I feel like that'd be a good move. Aren't these tiny critters? Yeah, well, critters. Tiny is subjective, I guess. Do corrupted stones have additional requirements to activate? Well, that's kind of what we're working on. I think the you got to find one first. That's hard because you have to kill a hollow tongue. But the risk is using them. Like they're most likely going to backfire on you, and that's part of what we're going to work out today. I'm leaning towards, you know, roll X amount of dice, and each failed die or that one rolls a 1 takes away your health, and you only have 3 strikes in this usually. Sometimes you have like 4 or 5, but so that'll take 1 strike. And if you hit 0 strikes because of the corrupted whisper stone, then you are permanently out. You become the hollow tongue. It would be clever to apply. If you need a supplement, that would be okay to add, but use what's already there for. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And like, it's, if people want to say they come up with their own school magic, they can. I mean, howdy, hello, how's it going? What's going on, Sabuth? Sabuth. Also known as the rabbit guy. The rabbit man. So, what would we say? There was like 9 of these to choose from, so... Blaster Master would work. That's just like raw power. Blowing stuff up. The Botanicalist. The Elementalist, maybe. The Necromancer would be a good one. The Shadow Weaver one would be very cool. Shadow Weaver, manipulate shadows. Examples of this power would be a cloak of darkness that conceals friends, or blinding shadows that block light to the eyes of enemies. These effects cause a bane to the affected target. Shadows have no mass. And technically, you could collect corrupted Whisper Stones and have multiple schools to choose from. Shabu Shabba. Shapeshifter would be a cool one. So let's do this. Let me easy D6. That's a core easy D6 schools of magic that we're thinking about using. Not arcane bands. Blaster Master, you're addicted to the raw energy of magic. Courses through blah 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 blah, the raw stuff of chaos. We'll put these kind of in the same thing for what I'm thinking. Blaster, let's see. Blaster Master and or element. I don't know how to spell anything. Elementalist. Element. Blaster Master is one word. Botanicalist. Oh gosh, we gotta try to spell that one again. Actually, can I cheat? Can I just copy paste here? Ha! Botanicalist. Okay. I definitely want the Necromancer. Illusionist? Illusionist and Shadow Weaver might be. You could. So let's see. Necromancer, Illusionist, and or Shadow Weaver. Seer. The probabilities of the universe swirl around you. By entering a trance, you can predict future events. I don't know how that one works. The inspirations that come to you are often jumbled and obscure and must be interpreted by you. You possess psychometry. Is that how you say that? The ability to read objects. That would be super cool. This often comes in the form of visions. Because there's actually a Whisper Stone that does that, which is safer to use. A Spirit Companion accompanies you. Oh yeah, you can talk to yourself. Everybody think you're crazy. Okay, so let's put Seer. And Shapeshifter. How would that work in Moss and Stone? Could you just become other animals and get their special ability, their species perks? Can you get perks of other playable species? That would be so cool. And a pain to keep up with. The line is a reference to a song that's called Using Your Resources and Being Efficient. That's what I'm talking about. The lore of Shadow and Warhammer is heavy on illusions. Oh. Scrat's biggest fantasy is being able to read, being able to spell and type. I've actually been good on reading lately. It only took me almost 40 years, but I got there. It's Swords and Stones. I'm blurry. We'll turn your quality settings up. Am I fine now? Good. Yeah, so Swords and Stones, I was actually thinking of your game just a minute ago when we were talking about different colored stones that do different things, control different things, and I was like, this is going to be like a whole other game concept that revolves around that. So you got your... I read your manual. Your different stones do different things, and I want to say they were different colors. That's how they worked. Shape-shifting, you become a human child for one scene. You would be enormous. Was Google's issue? Yeah, they have a lot of those. Speaking of, y'all want to hear something terrible I just learned today? YouTube, Google, YouTube, they're gonna roll out a tool, some AI tool, that lets you make shorts of your own likeness. That's not how they worded it, but it was similar. So essentially you can just say, generate a video of me, because I don't feel like making content today. Ugh. Can't see that being terrible at all. Red for spells, blue for healing, green for... Yeah, see there? White for possession. Yeah. See, I liked what he had with all the different stones and stuff. You saw that mustache? Oh, man. I just saw the Jax Films video about it this morning. What a timeline, man. Oh, the voice comments, dude. Those are either going to die in the first week or just go strictly to those types of channels, if you know what I mean. So. Okay, so let's kind of go this route for now. You're tempted by the colored stones. They might look burned black with the rune being of the respective color. Ooh. I saw some voice comments on a single short so far. Nice. Colored stones. They look burned black. You know, that might work, Twice Did, because what I've kind of been doing is... the first one shot we did, there was a ruined moss, and then the idea of the hollow tongues, you know, they get the stone scales on them that start growing, like the moss tries to stop it, and in those cases, the moss turns burnt looking and just kind of blackened and darkened. So the stones could also be that, like really burnt and dark looking, and then the rune glows a different color. I'm gonna steal your chat. Boop. I'll put it over there. I can't bring myself to actually invest into YouTube. It just feels so in decline, and also it's not a necessary evil by any means. I don't know what the word is I'm trying to find. And I think we talked about this on a stream a while back. Me and Glee have talked about it. It's how everybody is their own product now, their own marketer, their own hype man and everything. So like, just about anything you do in life, you have to like, it's the thing about networking. Like, you got to go out and network with people just for the most basic jobs, right? In order to be able to get a job. If you want to be a writer or a singer or a musician or anything like that, you have to generate this following and get on YouTube and make some noise and get noticed. You have to do all your own marketing and stuff. So like, that's not YouTube's fault, but like that is the main platform for doing it on. It's weird world we live in. Oh, what's the replacement for YouTube? A nuke. Just start over. There's no viable alternative for infinite free video hosting. Is basically it. Yeah. Definitely not Discord. Steal. These are gifts. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna snatch it. That's Crabsoft's new favorite word. I'm gonna snatch your chat and put it on the board. I use YouTube for my own purpose, not to make money. That way they leave me alone, but I still try followers. So I say, like, it can be a good thing, but YouTube needs some more moderation and consistency. That's what they need to work on first, is consistency. It's like what they ban and what they don't and all that. Networking is just nightmare for autistic people. I just wanted to it's the worst. I hate it so much. So we're going Fallout again. Hey, man. Fallout is pretty great. Okay. I guess we could just try that. So like, oh wait, no, we can't. No, we can't. We still gotta. So let's say you get a corrupted whisper stone. You roll up 1d6, see what school of magic you get. Yeah, but that will never happen. Yeah. I mean, maybe the AI will nuke us. Now we gotta think of how this works. So it's not gonna be like core easy d6. The limitations of what you can create are core easy d6, but the dice rolling mechanic is not. Because that one player says, well, 1 to 3 d6. Like if they want to target multiple people, they have to roll more dice. So would it be too much? I'm kind of leaning towards the miracle side of this. Be like, yep, this is just a blood miracle, for lack of better words. Or a curse, I guess. Like you're tapping into some very dangerous power, so the GM can say, yep, that's going to be XD6, right? And then I guess I could write this down. Got that Yoshi story music going on, or Yoshi's Island, whatever. Okay. Casting corrupted whisper stones works like core easy. I don't know. I put quotes on there. Miracles. Sort out. Player says what they want to do. GM sets number of dice to roll. But see, when you do miracles, shoot, how'd that work? I'll go back and look. Magic and miracles. That's not it. Did I? Oh, here it is. The GM will determine the number of aloofness dice rolled by the request. So, yeah, the GM just says roll this many. And then you have to roll. You can use hero dice, but no karma. Rolling a 1 cancels it. That's a good point about how networking could be challenged for many others. Yeah! It's terrible for some people and really good for some people. And I'll be the one to say the ones it's usually really good for aren't the ones that need it. As far as all the promotions that it gets them. There's your hot take for the day. They did the Kings dirty in the Fallout show. I haven't watched that show. It did not look good to me. So would you set targets for each type of PC or NPC for how many dice you do? That's kind of what we're trying to figure out here. Since writing my next one shot, I found my main villain in Star Trek and now Fallout. I might have to do a whole. Sergeant Stones, what I'm leaning towards is, since this is a very corrupted power you're using, I want it to backfire really hard when it messes up. So in Core EZD6, if you're the priest, you can cast a miracle, and it's very open-ended. You just say, I want thing to happen, and then the GM says, okay, that's going to be, and they pick a number of dice. It's all D6s. So if you're like, I think the book said, an example was, if you want to speak with the dead, like, yep, that's a miracle, 3d6, and you roll 3d6. And if I'm understanding it right, it happens so long as none of those dice roll a 1. Let me double check. Miracles can only be asked once per session or situation. Miracles can't harm. Rolling a 1 will automatically end your chance of a miracle, unless you do some kind of sacrificial thing. So yeah, so that's all. You're just trying not to roll a 1 with the miracle, but you're rolling a lot of dice, so you're does anybody have the math on that? The odds of rolling a 1 on 1d6, 2d6, 3d6, and so forth and so on. So what I'm thinking, you do it like that, but it has to fall within the realm of the school you rolled. So it's like a mini miracle. Players say what they want to do. GM sets the number of dice to roll, and this is, where the thing happens. So do we say any ones you roll take away 1 strike, and then the thing still happens? Or, because that would make it tempting. You're just like, okay, well, I can make this super cool thing happen. It just may or may not hurt me. A lesser spell is 3d6, casting greater 5d6 in magic. Yeah, that's if Twice did, if we do go that route where there's predefined things. I don't know if that would be more mental load for the GM or not. Whereas they could just pick a number. And it probably just depends on the GM, right? Some like having predefined ranges, and some are just like, oh, let me pick a number. So a disadvantage if it's corrupted, so like a Bane maybe on the d6 roll. If you corrupt only, you get the lowest numbers, and if you roll 1, then maybe it backfires on the cast for damage. Oh, it's always going to, well, not always going to backfire, but it's always going to be very risky. Direct contextual backfire, speak with dead. Now there's a ghost in your head. You could say that. You could say rolling a 1 will inflict whatever damage, and then your spell will also work, but with this additional consequence. I kind of like that. But I feel like these are going to be pretty well. No, because we really lessen their power if we're containing it within the schools of magic. So they do need softened a little bit. You cast 1 from your school, you roll 1d6 less. Consequences are fun when they're happening to somebody else. Okay, so player says what they want to do. GM sets number of dice to roll. Each die that lands on 1 removes 1 strike. Being reduced to 0 strikes using a corrupted whisper stone results in you becoming a hollow tongue. That's it. Let me make these a little easier to read. Rolling a 1 will still allow the spell in quotes, because that's not exactly what we're doing. The spell to work, but we'll have some additional complications. So, like, you summoned up a bunch of vines to grapple everybody. It might grapple you too now. So, GM's discretion. My players just love consequences for the protagonists. Almost fun as a TV game. Where was I the other day? I saw somebody, you know, TPKs, what, total party kill. But somebody was also saying it's tools for party killing. So, I can't remember what the context of that was. I'm working on consequences for my spell stones. That if they fail on a crit, then the stone inflicts a possession. Ooh. Or disease. You're gonna make them nasty. I saw someone describe rules like games as most often being unfinished homework. You know, I could have used that. There were several streams ago, I made the comment that rules like games tend to be lazy, and I was struggling to figure out how to explain it. Because, like, it can be very hard to make a rules like game that's coherent and works well. Versus a lot of people can just spit out a rules-like game and be like, oh yeah, just make it up, you know, as you go. And then it's like, okay, well, you didn't actually make a game. So, unfinished homework is a great way to define it. Part of me wants to be more specific. Part of me also wants to think people can figure it out. Yeah, that's the thing, too. Finding that balance. Gotta go. Aw, man, see you twice, dead. Oh, I'll figure it out before too long. Well, yeah, I am lazy, but hey, it's what works for me. DM's Lair killed all of us, but the familiar in a session at page 3. But the familiar lived to complete the missions. P.S. He's in for RPGs versus AO. How about that? You going to EcclesiaCon, Glenn? I can't remember if that's up here, if you're in that little area with all those guys or not. I'm not. I'm way down here, down south. That's like 16 hours away. Rules like games are a weird case study. Bye. See you twice, dead. So you get a corrupted Whisperstone, and I guess if you pick the corrupted priest, you start with a corrupted Whisperstone, and then you probably get to choose your own school that you want. Whereas if you find one in the wild, you get to roll. Gotta pretend to be working. See you, swords and stones. How do I know if my rules like game is lazy or fine? That's a good question. Somebody should make a video on that. Is my rules like game lazy? That's a good title. Or is your rules like game lazy? I don't have an answer. I'm thinking, like, if people are confused and really struggling to figure things out, maybe, but at the same time, they might not just be understanding it and have everything they need and don't realize it. I had to get Peter in on that one. Peter! I am close to EcclesiaCon, but I may need to go college touring that weekend with one of my kids. Oh no. College. Oh no. Is my rules like game lazy? Don't care. Your face is lazy. Whoa. Mustache coming in hot. From the dev perspective, the hardest thing is you don't know what you... Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Like, I could see somebody looking at nuts and saying, yep, this is super lazy, but it's like, I did a lot of work to get it there. Like, it would expand, and then I'd condense, and then it'd expand, and then I'd condense, and it's like, there's not much there, but it's only what you need. So... Lots of well-meaning people making awful games and not really. Yeah. And then there's some that are just being lazy, and I hope they know it. Like, golly. not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but I think it's Micro RPG is like the company name, air quotes, because it's just one person. I got something from them a couple years ago because it was about squirrels. I was like, oh, I need to pick this up. And it was just, it wasn't finished. It didn't work. Like if you followed the rules as written, it was very simple. It was just a few pages. And it's like, this legitimately does not work. Like I thought I was crazy. I had to break out the spreadsheet and everything. I was looking at it, it's like, oh no, you can't win. Like you just, everything was stacked so bad against you, and there were so many issues in it. There's basic typos and stuff, and I noticed in the back of it they were like, had this thing like, I make one game a month or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's like I got 150 games under my belt. That's like, okay, and all the images were just, you know, AI generated, supposedly edited to look better, but I mean the squirrel had 2 tails. So, I don't know, man. Actually, I had a hard conversation about feedback the other day, so it's been on my mind. Nuts isn't lazy, I can tell. That's right. Glenn knows what's up. So, I've also been thinking, Crab, about a video on feedback, just like taking feedback, because there's times when feedback is good, and there's times when feedback is useless and doesn't apply, and you have to figure out when it's good and when it's not. You know, you don't want to fall into that trap of taking everybody's feedback, because then you're not making any progress, and then sometimes you have to decide, okay, that's good feedback, but I don't want it because I think it misses the point of the game or something like that. I don't know. It's navigating feedback is difficult. But anyway, Moss and Stone. You find a corrupted Whisperstone. You roll up Necromancer. It's like, okay, I want to summon 3 skeletons. Badger skeletons. And then the GM's like, sure, man. That's a lot. 7d6. And you roll 3 ones. You're dead. But maybe you roll 1, or maybe you roll 2. You're still alive. Right. So how does this work? What is the benefit if you're a corrupted priest? You just get a thing of your choice, or you're spared one each time? Or you can roll a 1, re-roll a 1 for free. Because I feel like the preacher gets that on the predator roll. Sounds like a tile since the squirrel has 2 tails, or tails. A lot of people who are qualified to give feedback are also not invested enough to do so. And then you have people that just love to give feedback because they can't keep their mouth shut. Those are the ones you just like, okay, just let them talk and ignore everything. Glee says, man, I had the worst client feedback yesterday, I think, of my... Did you get ripped a new one? I didn't hear about that. I want to hear this story. Was it valid or wild? Yeah, did you mess something up? You're a feedback monger. There's somebody currently, I will not name names, developing a ttrpg, and they're really struggling in the feedback category, because not that they can't take the feedback, they take it very well, but they try to take all of it and apply all of it, and it's just like, you can't do that. Because you'll never progress. You know, you'll take a step forward and you'll take one back, and then forward and then back and then forward and back. You'll be forever stuck. You did tell me about it? I guess I wasn't listening. Dang it. You didn't start your story with, hey, this is the worst feedback I ever... Is this the JPEG one? That's not feedback. I thought you were asking them a question. And for clarification on something. See you, Glenn. Good feedback is objective and actionable. Yes, if you get same similar feedback from multiple sources, that's likely useful advice. So, yep, of course, integrating feedback into performance can be challenging. Designed by committee is always doomed. Yeah. And I obviously can't prove this. Well, actually, yeah, I can, because I think she said it herself. The Acolyte Star Wars show was written by committee. Leslie Headland, the lady who directed it, let the actors decide what their characters did in the writing room. And that's why nothing is coherent or makes sense. You have to also have a strong point of view as your guide, yes, as to what direction to go with development, whether feedback is taking you there. Yep. See, my videos and streams are always super rambly, and then somebody in the comments is like, oh, so just blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but it took me 30 minutes to get there. That video from old Grognard that I always reference, the problem, or his video is, it's why 5e has a GM shortage, and it's like a 7-8 minute video tops, and it's like, yeah, but that would have took me an hour to explain. Oh, it's such a good video. I had 3 game devs play Words of Power and give me the all good except this one thing. A few days later, one was like, actually, here's a page of notes. Oh, man. I rewrote your game for you. For my full-time job, part of my responsibility is branding, but I wasn't actually in the brand dev meeting for this client. So I had to present. Let's do it. Yep. I do love me some notes, but I wish we had better culture around giving feedback. Yeah, it's, committee can work as long as you have a director, yes, of the process ensuring. Yes, they did not. The director didn't want to be the boss and direct anybody. They didn't realize they were getting branding somehow. Very good. So I had a thought and then I forgot it. Oh, the feedback culture. Yeah. I don't really have a thought. It's weird because like I said, some people really like giving feedback, like they just live on it, like it's their bread and butter. They're like, oh yeah, let me tell you. They just, I tend to stay away from those people because my experience, maybe not so much in the ttrpg space, but in the writing space, when people are like that, they don't have anything very useful to contribute. It was bad vibes at that point of the call, and I had to quickly go defense mode. Oh, man. Glee's gonna get fired? She's arguing with the client? Rando's branding. Folks got some strong visions. They do. So. And then, yeah, the other part of the feedback thing is like, feedback is seeing as, I don't like this. But a lot of times it's like, hey, no, I really like this and want it to be even better. Like, I want to see it blossom. And that's writing feedback is wild. Boy, howdy. That's the thing in the video game space, what a lot of people just don't seem to understand. It's like, no, it's like when these people are ripping these games apart, you know, on whatever form they choose, they're still playing the game because they like it. They want it to do better. And it's very frustrating when the solution that everybody wants is so clear and the devs are just like, nah. If any famous writer at all had listened to random feedback, we'd have no books. We'd have the books that we have currently. It was very, what do you mean we need a logo? How dare? Oh, wow. Was that the big O one you did that I said looked like an apple cut open or a brain? I don't remember them being that sour. All right, I need to actually do some work here. Well, let's go up to, I like this. This is basic Whisperstone, basic corrupted Whisperstone logic. Very good. I like it. Okay, let's just do this. Corrupted priest benefits. Doesn't get complications on ones. Can re-roll a single one. Can absorb a one. That'd be kind of the same thing as re-rolling it. One strength. I know I definitely want this. Starts with a corrupted whisper stone of their choice. Oh, it was them? Okay, yeah, I didn't know they were that salty about it. I mean, y'all can keep talking about design and feedback. I was just saying I needed to do some work. So let's see. You roll a bunch of d6s. You're the corrupted priest, and then it's like, oh, I got a 1. Re-roll it for free. Would that be too strong? Maybe not, because see the corrupted priest, when he hits 0 HP, regardless of how he gets there, when he hits 0, he becomes the half hollow tongue thing. And then if he hits 0 this way, then he becomes full hollow tongue. But if he's half hollow tongue, he gets to keep playing. He's just got some special conditions. If you like a formatted feedback sheet to fill out, would you be more or less likely to provide feedback strongly? Yeah. At least for a ttrpg. I know video games, there's usually a form you fill out, right, to submit it all in. A sick combo to me? Yeah. I'm thinking maybe this one doesn't get the complications and can re-roll a single one, or just absorb it. I'll let him re-roll it, because then you could still roll another one. It's like, And of course, they get this one. We already knew that. So with that, doesn't get complications on a 1. That means he never has to worry about it backfiring on him. But it can still hurt him. But he can re-roll a single one. Hey, what are the odds of you getting 2 1s in a roll? So that's the thing, though. It's like, man, if you're just constantly absorbing one. But I mean, I guess that'd be okay, because he's built around this. I mean, we have limits in place. So like, if this works for base easy d6, then in theory he should be able to be just fine in Moss and Snow. I had to think of what my own game is called. Getting lunch, is that what I hear out there? Okay. So let me grab. Don't need it. Okay, so false words, crooked to the core, and hidden dagger. Well, at least false words and crooked to the core are probably going to be inclinations. We don't need that. Ah! Oh, that was fine. We'll just put that up there in the red. They thought they could stop the demon. Very good, twice dead. Okay, so corrupted priest. We're gonna Corruption. Start with a corrupted whisper stone of your choice, and then I don't know what to call this one. We'll get there. Rolling a 1 while using your corrupted whisper stone will not cause further. Oh, that came out of here. Can re-roll a die that lands on 1. Because I think, and this will be kind of a funny mirror thing, but I might be wrong. Miraculous save becomes 4. Okay, I was wrong. Never mind. That must just be a student thing. Or is it scholar? Well, who's got the... I don't know my own game. Oh, it is the base thing. Student. You've learned a thing or two from your studies, blah, blah, blah. You may re-roll a predator rating die if it lands on a 1. Okay. I thought it was the priest that could do something like that, but never mind. So here's what we got, Twice Dead, since you're back. We're thinking when you use a Whisper Stone, the corrupted Whisper Stone, excuse me. Player says what they want to do. The GM sets the number of dice to roll like a miracle. Each die that lands on a 1 removes 1 strike and will cause the spell will still happen, but a further complication happens. So like if you were summoning a bunch of vines to grab everybody, 1 might grab you too, or an ally or something. And we had always said if you get reduced to 0 strikes by using a corrupted Whisper Stone, boom, you're a hollow tongue. No ifs, ands, ors, or buts. Now, to make the corrupted priest based around this corrupted Whisper Stone, I'm thinking we got rid of his like scoundrel abilities, and those are just going to be inclinations that anybody can pick. So we're going to say he starts with the corrupted Whisper Stone of his choice. He gets to pick the school of magic. If he rolls a 1 while using the corrupted Whisper Stone, it will not cause a complication. Just ignores that. It will still hurt you, but you can re-roll at least 1 or only 1 die when it lands on a 1. So you have a chance to avoid your damage. And at first I was like, oh man, like it's gonna be hard to bring him down, you know, and corrupt him. But then I remembered, oh, when the corrupted priest dies, by any means, he becomes the halfway hollow tongue thing, right? This whole big block of text here, which is a lot, but it's a cool concept. So yeah, the corrupted priest is very strong, but he has a very definite lifespan. So I think that will be very cool. Might be too strong, I don't know. And do we want to call it a corrupted priest? It could just be somebody who has like a bad whisper stone, you know? See, it was corrupted priest before because that's why he had like all the swindler abilities and stuff and charlatan things, because he was just a bad person. Gonna have to play test? Yep, for sure, for sure. So this could just be... let's call him Vecna. I'm fine with all the abilities. I like how those are. I just think he needs a different flavor text. And that's something I can do later. I'm just spitballing. I don't think Corrupted Priest really is the right vibe. Though maybe. Because I become hollow is like you have lost your way. That's why when you hit 0 strikes, no matter how you get there, like you become hollow. Stone Hexer. Ooh. Plays with fire because he's dealing with the darkness. Maybe just corrupted something. Maybe not priest specifically. Because this is... There's student. That's the base class. Because you remember Moss and Stone, you pick a job and then a specialization. And then under that is scholar. There are easier ways to write. Scholar, priest, and then whatever this is. So if it's student related, half hollow hexer, the HHH, the triple H. So I mean, like, it could just be a student who like got his hands on a corrupted whisper stone, and you're like, this is pretty cool. And because you've been working with those corrupted whisper stones, that's why you're already kind of corrupted just by the exposure, and that's why when you hit 0 HP you become hollow tongue regardless. Stone cold. And I believe each job out of each groups of 3 specializations, each one of them was kind of not a bad guy, but leaned a little the other way. Because like warrior, the barbarian, he was, see, not a bad guy, but it's like, yeah, somebody's getting a little blood hungry, bloodthirsty. Obviously the corrupted priest for this one. The healer role, you had the witch doctor, was like, okay, yeah, they got all the poisons, they're a little on the darker side. And then the bugmaster had the swarmer, which just controlled a bunch of bugs against their will and used them to like sacrifice them as shields and stuff and everything. So not mandatory that it works out that way, but I thought it was pretty cool. I like things like that when they're all, you know, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Orderly, nice and neat. Sage, the lost sage, the corrupted sage, the dropout, since it's the student. That would be more like the swindler. Inclinations. I don't know how to spell inclinations. That's supposed to be an O, not an A. Hermit? Listener? Ooh. Hermit. Sage. Whisper Warden. Yeah. I don't know. Shackled ear? The confused? The lost? The darkened? Just call them corrupted. Might be the easiest solution. Florida man. Accurate. Oh. Oh, I just realized something. I hate it when it does this. It doesn't look like I missed any. So in the chat, you can choose top chat or live chat, and it always defaults to top chat when you start a stream. And I'll set it to live, but then when I actually hit the go live button, you know, to connect OBS to YouTube, it resets it back to top chat, and I always forget. But I don't think I missed any chats. I don't think my chat's that busy enough to make that an issue. Though it has happened before. Like, I was missing a bunch of chats one time. You hate that sound? Yeah, it's so annoying. I don't... There was a set as default button. I don't even know what top chat is. Like, that's been a thing before. They had these little ranking things. So it's like, what is top chat? Heretic. Don't understand it. YouTube being YouTube, doing YouTube things. I'm just glad they... Well, actually, I'm looking at it through OBS. Let me see if they actually did fix it. Pop out chat. Okay, they did finally fix it. So the little reaction thing, this little boop, 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 how you can make that go up. That button used to be in the chat window instead of below it. And if somebody had a comment that went far enough to need a new line, that bubble would cover like their last word, and you couldn't see what there's. It was so annoying, and it was like that for so long. And those are the things I look at, and I'm just like, how did this go live? Like, how did all of you supposedly intelligent people let this slide past? You think others can like a comment in the chat? I thought it was only if they paid for it. Like the super chat things. I can pin a message. What's that look like? I can put a user in timeout. I see the little hearts coming up. Hedge witch. Ooh. About the ambient mode. Are you talking about like the color thing going on around your window? Or where the video is? Is that what you're talking about? Here's a fun comment to pin. Pin message. Time me out, Peppy. Yeah, you can like super chats. I knew that. I don't know what it does. Makes people feel good about spending their money, I guess. Yeah, look at the likes I'm getting. You are the only person I've met who knows what it is. Well, because I saw a video explaining it when it came out. Because I get YouTube updates. Like in my dashboard, they'll be like, what's new on YouTube? And I usually check it out. It's usually disappointing, but I make sure there's something I don't need to be aware of. But I actually have there's a plugin called Enhancer for YouTube that does away with a lot of their nonsense and just takes it back to an older look, but also does nice things, like always sets the quality to 1080p for me instead of, you know, you can have YouTube and say, hey, I always want this quality, but it always, despite it being set, will bring it down to like 360 or something. So nice little things like that. You're enraged that somebody got paid to make that feature and then I have to turn it. Yep. I didn't know you could turn it off. You used to couldn't. But not normal chats. Yeah, I think it's just the super chats. Petrified soul. Oh yeah, I wanted to write down your other one here. What was it? Hedge witch? Or just witch? Is that the right witch? Well, I know what I'm talking about. Petrified soul. Corrupted soul. The wayward. Carry on my wayward son. Hey, it is a good song, but I'm so tired of hearing it. The first gal I was married to was a singer and had a lovely voice. She was very good at singing. But when we were together, she heard Wayward Son for the first time. Because we were watching Supernatural, right? And that's their theme song. That was the first time she heard that. And man, my God, I had to hear it so much after that. She was constantly singing. I said, okay, please stop. The song would come on the radio or something. I hear it in passing and just be like, ah, the trauma. Pebblemancer. That sounds like a whole other class. That sounds like a good one for one of these. Pebblemancer. Let's do the Botanicalist. Maybe we'll do that instead of the Blaster Masters. They also ruined Eye of the Tiger. Did they use it a lot in Supernatural? I just remember like that one episode, and then they had the outtakes where he was on his car, like air guitaring on his leg. It was pretty funny. You are divorced? I am twice dead. I was married once before, and decided she wanted another man. That's how that went. We were together much longer than we were married. The marriage was pretty short. We were both entirely too young, but we tried anyway. And then I had to go get married again. Oh man, wish I didn't have to work and lurk so much. That's alright, we about to wrap up. Jensen did a blooper and then the internet and fans bit. Man, Supernatural had some weird fans. They had some very attached fans. Was a little creepy sometimes. I really liked part of Supernatural. I forgot what season we got to, but I mean, it didn't take very long before it got very ridiculous, but I appreciated that they knew they were ridiculous. They knew, like, this is garbage what we're making at this point, and we're just gonna lean into it. So it's like, hey, you know what you are. You're aware. That's fine. Good show, crazy fans. Yep. Squirrel wasn't enticing enough for the long term. That's what it was, man. She went, well, we only have gray squirrels around here. Well, we got fox squirrels. That's what happened. She went for a fox squirrel. Marriage when you are too young is a big mistake. It's true. It's true. Very true. Better than a bad show with crazy fans like has been. Ooh. I don't know that one, but it sounds like a bad combo. We're in dire docks. Turn it up a little bit. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there because we got. The lore was already good, I'm pretty sure. I can double check that. I like the idea. Something like this. I should save this. And then, yeah, I like that. And that's kind of that burnt look you were talking about, Twice Dead. I did like the idea of it being very, probably might not be able to see that. Let me make it bigger. Okay, let me zoom in on it. Kind of cracked like this, right? And you can see the blood in the cracks and stuff, and this glow a little bit like that. That's kind of the vibe I was going for. Like, it's very clear it's not good. These were just other ideas. You can ignore them. That's the middle one I'm talking about. So that's what I'm thinking. Which just makes the vulture dude that much cooler that he eats those things. Do not fight the vulture. So we have the mechanics, how they work. I will have to... Oh, there's my little laser pointer. I will have to flavor text and define all these. Like I said, this Blaster Master might become Pebblemancer. Like, that's pretty cool. The Botanicalist, I probably word for word. Well, of course, I may not make Pebblemancer because the idea was, hey, just use core easy D6 rules. And I was gonna convince... I don't know. We'll see how that writes out. That'll need some finagling. And then we got the rules here on how that works, and then what the corrupted priest gets. And we're just gonna have to come up with a new name. So I think we're good. Let's see. I think Buffy might have done that at some point. I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know Mahler is super obsessed with that show. I never watched it. The 100% overlap between this fan base is so same. I actually like Has Been, but you're not wrong. I have no idea what that is. Also, what the heck was that Sherlock, Doctor Who, and Supernatural fan crossover? Missed that one too. Not sad. Super Holockians. Wow. Okay. That sounds terrible. Yeah, we're gonna cut it there. I got some work to do. Just some finagling the fine details, and then I need to have... I was gonna make a one-shot. That's what spurred all this, is I was making a one-shot that takes place in the Twice Dead Swamp. I don't know what to do as far as a GM and running this, and you guys can hit me up in the Discord or something somewhere if you want. A creature that you don't want the party to fight because it's just so stupidly strong. Like, do you just let it kill a player and say, hey man, well, that was on you? I mean, I got ways I can make it interesting. I'm just... don't know. Thoughts there. Go do work. Wait, you're an author. Authors don't do real work. Yeah, that's right. We do everything but right. Really good at finding reasons not to. Peter's asking me ISBN questions. Oh no. RWBY. I think I know that show. It's really hard to get non-playing players. This is like, it's like it could be unfun too, or not fun, however that works. It's like, oh, it's this monster and we can't fight it. Like, you know, I want them to be able to hurt it and do things, but I don't know. That was gonna be a tricky one shot. I mean, the last one shot we did was outside of my norm, and I felt like it went pretty good. Ran a little long, but that was okay. That was kind of expected, but it went pretty good. It's like firing someone. Do it in their office so you can leave. Well, with the Zelda music playing, I'm gonna hop off. I'm hungry. I need to go to the bathroom, get some things done. So I guess, well, hey, we have the Moss and Stone channel in Discord. So as far as running the Twice Dead Swamp and using the Big Vulture, feel free to drop some ideas in there on how to make that interesting, and like what it's that feedback we're talking about. You as a player, how you would like to experience that, or as a GM, how you would run it. Make it super clear before they ever meet the monster. Yeah, I would make it clear. It's like, you're going to the Twice Dead Swamp. Everybody avoids this because... cripple it instead of... Yeah, that could be cool. So, yeah. Head over to the Moss and Stone channel. Give me your ideas, thoughts, suggestions, and I will work on this at some point. And I will see y'all some other stream. We got more Mega Man bosses to make because we only did 2 of them. See y'all later. Stop stream.